I was supposed to start at 10 and it's almost 11:30, so one session is done. So I think first of all, good morning and welcome you all. I don't know whether it is good or bad that I am the first resource person, because inaugural ceremony took away, of course, almost 40 minutes of mine. So I will have to modify my presentation so that we can have a best interactive session. So maybe theoretical part we may remove up to some extent. So, and the topic. So when this was going on, it was asked to me which topic you would take. And I preferred that I should take up something where practical aspect is there. That, case-based, bedside learning, all those things I had a preference. But anyway, it was given teaching learning process. So my first topic, which is there, is teaching learning process, principles, skill learning lecture. And the topic is such that I will have to give lecture up to some extent, which is not a preference otherwise. So let us try to understand, and I would rather prefer to go straight to the case and understand how we can teach rather than thinking about. But basically, since this is a topic and module is talking about teaching, we should know what are the various techniques of teaching. And then we will try to understand which is better, how we can learn, how we can teach better. We all are learned people, but we are continuously learning from each other. So we all are teachers and we are trying our best that what best we can give to our students that they can retain that memory. I am not in hurry to complete within 15 minutes, as sir said that memory is going to be maximum within 15 minutes. Let's see how much we can sustain with that. So, I felt like let us start with the understanding of the meaning. What is teacher, what is teaching, what is education, and what is learning. And at the end I could understand that all are same. So when you teach, you learn. When you learn, you... So I thought let us start with understanding of basic definitions. So what is the objective today that I have to finish with this session is process of lecture as a method of large group teaching, clinical teaching, problem-based learning, scope and advantages of all the teaching methodology. I think we all use all these methods in our practice and in our teaching. But which is the best method? What are the things where we can go for this type of method and where other method is advisable? So, who is a successful teacher? Is that a teacher? The successful teacher is no longer on a height, pumping knowledge at high pressure into passive receptors. He is a senior student anxious to help his junior. I think many a time it happens so that we just want to just pump our knowledge and we have to finish the curriculum because exam is coming and all those pressure does come up and we end up doing this. So there are many definitions, but what I like the most, because I do not say this is the definition, but what I would like all of us as a teacher to define. That is one who inspires, motivates and opens up minds to the endless possibility of which one can achieve. I think this is our responsibility. So teacher is not just teaching in the college or we are employed and we are doing this, it's not for the sake of that. But how many students' heart we can touch, motivate, inspire so that they can go ahead. That is the achievement for a teacher according to me. So other is a person who uncovers hidden treasures, possibilities and magic right before everyone's eyes. Puts the star within our reach and touches lives forever. Don't you think we all, especially whenever we are in the medical field, these are important aspects that we as a teacher should think about. So there's many definitions, but I think this, and when we go to learning, same thing happens. Same definition is coming up. So learning is a process of acquiring new understanding, knowledge, behavior, skills, values, attitude and preferences. Since the topic is teaching, learning, process. So we have understood what is teacher, who is teacher, what is learning, who is learning. We all are learning. I think we all are supposed to learn till the end of our life. So learning never ends. And the moment we feel that now I am learned and I don't need anything to learn, no, I deny. And we have to be open, change is constant and we have to go on learning. So what is teaching? So we have talked about what is teacher. We have understood what is learning, right? And now what I think we all know this, but being a topic I am supposed to talk about it and connect it with the other part that we will be talking about. So what is teaching? Teaching is just delivering lecture. How do we teach? I think this is what a thought with CME and teaching module is talking about, that what are the various methods that a constructive teaching can be done so that students get motivated and gets advantage. So what is teaching? A process of engaging students in activities that will enable them to acquire the knowledge, skills as well as worthwhile values and attitudes. So it has nothing to do only with curriculum. Curriculum is a part of it. That can be even learned through so many other medias. But what is our responsibility, especially for a medical student, medical teacher and medical student, that what we can give is very important, the knowledge, skill as well as worthwhile values and attitudes. If that is there, things are possible. So what are the various types of teaching learning methods that we adopt to transfer knowledge, skill and attitude? Will the method differ for first year student to second year to fourth year and to interns? I think the whole process, so that means we have to connect to students at that level. So if we are just standing up and trying to teach students, they are not going to learn. We have to go with them in first year, second year, third year, fourth year and then interns. And I always say that we should not forget that once upon a time we were also students. Because the moment we become teacher, now we forget that we were also students, we also face this difficulty. Can we try to rectify and help students that what difficulties I face should not be faced by my students, and that is directly proportionate to where we are. So these are it's a very responsible job. Teachers' Day is celebrated and messages are coming, but the real message comes up because it is all forwarded message. You know, the importance of teacher, what it was before, what was the meaning of Guru then and what is the meaning of Guru now, there is wide gap. So that of course, but so far as our objective is concerned, that should not be a gap between that what we are supposed to deliver to our students. So what I do, I will not go into the depth of all methodology. If time permits, later on we will talk about what are the various methods. So in brief, we will talk about various methods that we can adopt. So learning of course is an active process. We have to actively engage the learners in learning activities if we want them to learn what we intend to teach. Unless and until they are engaged with us, I don't think we can teach them. So research shows that 75% retention rate in learning is by doing. And this very well applies to our stream and our pati. 90% retention rates learning by teaching others. So being a teacher, we are advantageous position, but we shouldn't stop, because the moment we teach, we learn. So skill, knowledge, everything is directly proportionate to what we teach and what we learn. So guiding principle in selection. Now this is an important research work which has come up, that what is the type of methodology that you should use, which which can give maximum benefit. That the written is more. So it shows that the more senses that are involved in learning, the more and the better the learning is. And they have said that sight is 75%. And when you talk about sight, that talks about a particular type of teaching methodology, which is known as either clinical teaching or problem-based teaching, PBL, problem-based learning. We will talk in depth about both the methods. I hope I'm okay, I'm not too fast, and fine. So touch, smell, taste. These are the various research rituals, and it says that unless and until you see, you understand, you can follow, and that is permanent. But there is a nice this thing. I'll come to that. That how many days can you remember whatever you have learned? Not more than 90 days, it is said. And after that, you almost forget that. That is how we need to study all the time during exams, even though we have learned. So, what is the level of activity? Now, this is again important, that where we can create best atmosphere for learning and teaching. So we are, as a medical, from the medical field, these are the wards. Level of activity is much more high. Operation theatre, of course, doesn't apply to us as much, but still it is equally important that we should know even all other modalities that we can be required anytime. So that OPDs, community clinics, seminar, workshop, and classroom, it is said, is the lowest. The activity level at classroom is always low. You just speak, as sir said, VC sir, that you speak, we are not sure what students are listening or where they are. So that, this is again all research which has been done. I'm just continuously thinking, how do I modify that we can go to case faster and understand this theory. So I'll just brief lecture. Now we all know what is lecture. I don't think I need to tell you what is the meaning of lecture, but at least we should know what is advantage and disadvantages of lectures, because more often than not we are happy with just going in the class, giving lecture and coming back. So lectures are efficient means of transferring knowledge, and that's the traditional way. That is the traditional way that has been coming up since years together. Transferring knowledge and concepts to large group. They can be used to stimulate interest, explain concept, provide core knowledge, and direct student learning. So there are certain things which is known as fundamentals and basics, which can always go with lecturing. You like better, and then concepts can be created out of that through our practices. So lectures, how best to do it? I don't think I need to talk about this because we all know, we all do it. So, but how we can make lectures also more interesting? Because just going and talking for 1 hour and coming back, or we can have various methods in that method also, so that we can teach them better. So use concrete example to illustrate abstract principles. Give handouts of the lecture slides with space to write notes to them. Give handouts with partially completed diagram and ask them to complete that. Allow for pauses in delivery to give students time to write notes. Check for understanding by asking question or by running mini quiz. This topic says that how should you start? First minutes what you should do, and how you should end the lecture. Now lecture we are supposed to give, there is no option for that. So then comes seminar. Now seminar, we all are aware that when we listen. But unless and until we get involved, we are not going to take home so much. So we attend so many seminars, we write down so many things during that seminar, and it remains there only. I don't think we ever reuse it or use it again, including me. So we all are like that. So what is that which you can carry longer, which can help you to understand patients? So seminar, third, so we talked about lecture, second is seminar, and third is problem-based learning. I would like to focus on this methodology today more. The reason being, if if you are aware, National Education Policy also is talking about integrated medical education and problem-based education, and that is the need of the time. So like how we can do this? So we will see if we can do that in one of the case. We can have a group and talk about it. So individual, it can be an individual or a group activity. Group learning facilitates not only the acquisition of knowledge but also several other desirable attributes such as communication skill, teamwork. So there are so many other advantages when we are talking about problems. So it's not only knowledge, but how do you communicate? We being a physician are supposed to be a best communicator. So how do you communicate? How do you work in the teamwork? Because when we are practicing, we do require team. We require team of any faculties, and we should be open for that when we are talking about integrated medical education. So we should be a good communicator. We should be able to work in a team. These are the various advantages when we are talking about problem-based learning. So problem solving, independent responsibility for learning. Now the material is given. Now it is up to me how much am I going to utilize it. Up to what depth I am going and studying that, and how it's directly proportional to what I deliver, the things that I have taken in. So triggers from the problem, case of scenario, define their own learning objective. PBL is generally introduced in the context of a defined core curriculum and integration of basic and clinical science. So what does that mean? That according to the topic we have to decide a case. That what am I going to teach to patients through case in a particular topic. So problem based can be paper based clinical scenario. So like I was at Trivandrum Sarda Krishnan last week as a resource person, and we did that because we had a good time of 4 hours. So I had circulated case before. They had worked out, and then we had a group activity. So we made 4 groups there, and 4 groups from various teachers. They discussed, and each group presented the case, the material. I think that process, if we can do it with students also, that definitely will help for a better output overall. So it can be experimental, clinical laboratory data, photographs, video clips, all of part of an article from a scientific journal, a real or stimulated patient. These are the options that we have. We can have anything. I can just produce a video and we can discuss, which I will be doing now. So we can understand that even a simple video of 2 minutes, what learning environment that we can create for students, which can go a long way. Then clinical tutorial. I think we all are aware about it, clinical tutorial. So that is the 4th aspect. Clinical teaching is delivered to a small group of students. That one is a large group. So learning seminars and all are large group learning. But the ratio of receiving of knowledge is much less in large group compared to problem-based learning or teaching. So here when facts are shared, students' engagement passive, but learning potential is also low. Now that again I will just discuss in depth about each methodology if time permits, otherwise that is available, we can study also. But there are various advantages and disadvantages of each methodology. So I don't think we can generalize that I should only teach with this method. So it is directly proportional to the topic or the things that I want to teach. One-to-one clinical attachment. So this is what again the ratio is. So efficiency, we have just tried to understand lecture, seminar, PBL group, clinical tutorial and one-to-one. So what are the advantages so far as efficiency is concerned? So efficiency for lecture is high, seminar medium, PBL is low, very low. Active learning, where it happens. So in lectures, active learning is very low. Variable, in seminar it depends on the type of seminar. And PBL group is high. So problem based learning, the efficiency is very high. and one-to-one of course is very high. So modeling behavior in real life setting, there also if you will see PBL and one-to-one. So I can focus that last three aspect is much more important for us as a doctor to teach our students. Other books are like everything is available in book, they can mug up, but the application, the philosophy and practice which should go side by side, and that should be our objective. So it is said, tell me and I forget, show me and I remember, involve me and I understand. I think let me stop here and go to the case now, because I need your involvement, otherwise what I am talking, I am going on giving lecture. So there is a long presentation PPTs, but let us start with one case so that we can engage with each other, and then we will again come back to the theory. And this should be the procedure I feel, juggling between theory, and practice. So I'll just go. Can you tolerate for some more time, then I can go ahead with this PPTs and go to the case. What is? Yes? Sure? Okay. So the role of teacher is frequently undervalued, and yet teaching is potentially rewarding and enjoyable. I think you all agree with this, that it is really enjoyable. It is also one of the defining features of a profession. Without teaching to ensure the transmission of knowledge, medicine becomes just another job. How people are working as a clerk in other companies, people are working various places in factory. We are no more than that if we cannot engage our students. And this is what I think teachers are responsible for our undervalue also, and as a homeopath also, I would take that responsibility, that we somewhere are responsible for that. And I think that is how this CM is organized by Ayush is so very important. That we are meeting each other, we are transferring knowledge. It is not so whoever is coming for teaching, it is all learning. So teaching learning processes goes side by side. It cannot be independent. So what is seminar? Principles of lecturing large group with advantages and drawbacks. So this of course would have pravachan, seminar, all those things which is there. It has advantage. And smashan vairagya tradition. We say that when someone dies, we go to smashan and we feel what this is useless, life is useless. But that remains only for 10-15 minutes and we come back and we are as it is what we are. And if this seminar feeling, I would say it is something like that we learn and we feel and then we forget within, depends on the present and how long you can remember. And that is, I think that's what happens with the students also when we are teaching. So we are also students, so we can understand what they are also passing through. So what do we experience a lecturing in a large group? So what all options are there? That is classroom teaching is of course large group because we have 100 students, much more than seminar nowadays. Seminar, conference, pravachan, speech on a topic. So these are the various large group teaching methodology. How can lectures be used? We have to use lecture. That methodology is equally important. So how we can maximize the advantage of that? Learning and provide opportunity for students' interaction. So it's important to find out as much as possible about the context of the lecture, that is where it fits into the course of which part it is. So context, and then you plan out the lecture. Not that today is this, tomorrow is this, we just go ahead the way we are supposed to. What do you need to know before planning a lecture? Good morning. what do we are supposed to know before lecturing. How your lecture fits into students' course or curriculum. We of course can't forget that they have to give exams. We just can't go on having PBL. They have to study theory also. So we have to identify that where lecture fits into the student's course or curriculum. Accordingly, we have to plan out. The student's knowledge of your subject. How much is student aware? Do we tell them that I am going to take this topic next time, so please be prepared for that. So that a simple tip can help students to receive our topic in a better way. So the student's knowledge of your subject. Try to get a copy of the lecture and tutorial list for the course. How the course and your lecture will be assessed. The teaching methods that the students are accustomed to. So helping your students to learn. Use concrete examples to illustrate abstract principles. Just converting what is written in the book and talking on PowerPoint and just completing the course does not help. That survey we had done of our students in our college, I don't know Dr. Dhaval is aware or not, but we had done that, what is their liking for various types of lecture. And it was said that PPT can be a liability also. PowerPoint presentation helps us, but for students, because they feel that you are just coming, speaking and going. So that is available online also. Why do they sit with you? So these are the issues which are coming up. So how better we can modify our lecturing methodology that their engagement is better. So we can circulate some material beforehand, give handouts of the lecture slides with space to write notes to them. So they can just go on writing, they can ask questions, give a pause in the lecture that we want to ask any questions. We always clear questions because we don't want to answer all the questions. We may not be clear about what answer it has. So, we many a times fear that. So we do not allow, we don't have pauses in our lectures. We just finish it fast. As I told you, give handouts of part, and this we have already discussed about. Planning your lecture. It is important to distinguish between the knowledge and the concept that are essential. So this is two important things. Need to know and nice to know. This is the thing which is there when you are talking about teaching learning processes. So there are certain things which you need to know. And there are certain things which is nice to know. So need to know, of course, will be related to your exams, of course, will be related to your curriculum. Nice to know, it is better if you know that. So if we talk about Kant's philosophy, we only limit ourselves to Leaky's repertory and all, but that is need to know what is repertory and how it is based on. But if we go to Swedenborg's theory, then it is said it's nice to know Swedenborg's theory. I think this is just an example that what is need to know and what is nice to know. So we have to update our knowledge about nice to know also, because need to know is compulsory that we have to finish in our curriculum. So if we update and we learn our skills and knowledge, so I think then we can transfer. I don't think I ever heard the name of Swedenborg when I was studying. I don't know how many of you have heard the name of Swedenborg. Can I know that? Now we know, but in the study period, definitely. Absolutely. We never knew. So where was Swedenborg for all 30 years? We have passed out 30 years back.
That time there was no need to know also, maybe.
Absolutely. No, but who decides?
Yeah.
Who decides this is need to know and nice to know? Again, that depends on myself and ourselves also. So now, I think UG students are aware of Swedenborg, but I would say I came to know almost 5 years back or something, not before that. And you are teaching in the subject of repertory since so many years. So I think that concept is very important in teaching learning processes. Need to know, nice to know and must know. There are three things. Need to know, nice to know and must know. This is the theory that they have asked for. So that is very important. We should identify according to our topic that this they must know. This they need to know. This is nice to know if they know it. So those who are interested will come and ask you. We'll discuss about what are nice to know things, and that is the responsibility of a teacher to initiate and ignite that yearning for learning. I think that is what, and that is how it is different than we are employed at somewhere. Teacher, I don't think we can use that word employment. Teachers are always teachers and teachers are always learners. So that is what planning your lecture. So this nice to know and need to know is very important. So when we plan micro teaching plan, like when we are bifurcating our curriculum, we can have, that is what we did in repertory subject, that here it is must, this is need, and this is nice. So that micro teaching plan can be bifurcated in that sense. So again, it depends on the resources of student and resources of teacher equally, that we can just discuss about that. I hope you with me?
Yes.
15 minutes has passed. I hope you're... So aim of the lecture. It should be clearly defined. Why am I? Then now you will see all presentation. What am I going to achieve at the end of the lecture? It is not so today I have to take this topic, go and take topic and come back. Without understanding what was I supposed to achieve, what was I supposed to deliver, let's take this topic and finish that. So it is very important that we decide what is the aim of the topic or objective. What do I hope to achieve with this lecture? This will have to define the teaching methods and structure. So I think we do not understand, including me, what is curriculum and teaching plan and micro teaching plan. I am averse to do that. Even though we do it day in and day out, but putting that down on the paper, we feel it's a very laborious task. But gradually we are able to understand that so very important, that how am I going to plan? Not only when inspection is coming that we plan out those things, but ideally we should plan out, we should teach, and I think that is the purpose of CMEs, which is being organized by Ayush for all of our teachers to arise awake and stop not till the goal is achieved. Choosing teaching media. Now again, the most go for PPT and done. So you don't have to even recollect anything and remember anything. So I think each topic has their own teaching media that we are supposed to use. All topics like Organon, how much teaching media can be used, because Organon is philosophy and you have to describe it. I remember when I used to take lecture, one slide used to take one lecture. So that can be a support system. So I normally do not prefer to talk about chronology. I don't mark that up. We may fail if chronology or that basic questions are asked. That is equally important. But there we can have support of slides where chronology is there and all. But the philosophy, you have to have your own touch, and human touch is so very important, so that we can touch the heart of the students. So when you have selected the content of the lecture and placed it into a working structure, the next consideration is how to deliver the message. Which teaching media should be used? Slides, overhead, handouts, quiz. These are various teaching media which we can use to generate that knowledge. The most appropriate media will differ depending on the venue, class size and topic. If you make a group study in 100 students, you will be nowhere. So for that you have to have small groups teaching where you can make groups. So as I told you at Trivandrum there were 20, so we made group of 5 was possible. For 100 you can't make that. So that which media I am using, which methodology I am using is again directly proportionate to the type of topic, type of venue, type of classroom, type of delegates. We can work accordingly. Getting started. In the first moment, I think we don't need all this thing. We know how to start. We can end. But then encouraging students to interact. We don't want students talking in between. But we need to encourage students to talk, to ask questions. I think I always say that if you do not ask question, you have not understood anything. If you ask question, I would say somewhere there is registration, and that is how some confusion is there. So we should entertain them to ask questions and interact. So students learn well by doing. Yet there is an understandable tendency for students to regard lecture as an opportunity to sit back, be entertained and soak up in the learning. However, you can use various methods to encourage students to make a more active part in the learning process. Students' attention and recall is best at the beginning and end of the lecture. So we have begun, we are in the body part, middle part. So I don't know how much is the things, and sir, I have already given that 15 minutes and end 15 minutes you will be receiving end, otherwise you are not going to receive. So let's see. Encouraging students to interact. Recall can be improved by changing the format of your lecture partway through. It is also important when planning the lecture to think about activities and exercises that will break up the presentation. So we can have that also. Encourage students to ask questions, get students to ask fewer questions, brainstorming, buzz group, mini assessment. These are the various methodologies which are given in the book, so no need to discuss. How to end your lecture. At the end of the lecture, it is important to summarize the key point and direct students for further learning. I think we should start with earlier lecture and we should end with the conclusion of what we discussed today and what we are going to talk next time. So there are students who can be prepared for next lecture so that more interaction is possible. You may present the key points on a slide or overhead at the end. The end of the lecture is also a common time for questions. Students may find the use of 1 minute paper a useful tool to help them to identify concepts and impressions that they need clarifications. We always should evaluate our lectures, and that's what I told you that we did, and it was not a very happy moment that what students had written for all the teachers. So we feel, I always we feel I have taught very well. But when you interact with them, you realize that whatever you have taught has hardly gone into their mind. And that is a very painful experiences we all pass through. I don't know about all the teachers, but that's so, I feel I have taught best. But when you ask them, they have hardly retained anything out of that. So that evaluating your lecture, and that is how modifying our methodology to teach. So each lecture should be modified in that way, that what is the mood of the students? How do we modify their mood? So these are the various methodology that we can use. Now this is fine. This is our regular procedure in any of the session, any of the lecture that we evaluate at the end of the session. How was it? What was the deliverable? What was the content? And the majorly not praising anything, but what were the difficulties that they faced during lecture? Which feedbacks can allow us to grow, to evolve, and to learn better. So that type of feedback mechanism is very important. We cannot say, if you will say wrong, I will fail you. And that is a common conversation going on at so many places we have seen. You can ask, you can give feedback. There is no harm, and we are also learning. We are teaching and learning process goes on. So we can have peer evaluation also. We can ask our colleague to sit in our lecture and ask how was it, what were the difficulties, whether any modification is required. But there is a lot of openness required, and openness to receive critics is very difficult, but we can have that which will help us to evolve. Lectures are still a common teaching method in UG and PG both. Their continued popularity is due to the fact that they represent an effective and efficient means of teaching new concepts and knowledge. So anything where new, we have to understand through lecture, and then application will come up. Advantages of lecture. So we are just finishing with lecture part and then we go to the case. So lecture, what are the advantages of lectures? Lecturing or large group teaching is one of the oldest form and traditional form of teaching which was going on from years together. Lectures are an efficient means of transferring knowledge and concepts to large group. They can be used to stimulate interest, explain concepts, provide core knowledge, and direct student learning. So that is fundamental, I would say. So when you talk about research, this methodology is fundamental and basic methodology which we all are supposed to use. Disadvantage. This should not be regarded as an effective way of teaching skills, changing attitudes or encouraging higher order of thinking. I don't think we rise above the content of the lecture. And if we do not rise, students are not going to rise above that facts and reality. Large group formats tends to encourage passive learning. Students receive information but have little opportunity to process or critically appraise the new knowledge offered. And that is what I said, some surveys says that it only remains for 90, it goes out then. Unless and until we learn to apply those knowledge. So this is brief about one methodology that we have taught, which we have more often than not using lecture as a technique, teaching and learning processes for. So let's go to one case and understand the second method, that how we can generate learning apart from lecture. Because ours, when we are talking about repertory, which comes up in the fourth year, so they are more of clinical, more of practical, they are going to be interns, they will be with you. So how can we create that environment? So Dr. Dhaval, I am going to share a case which you were there with.
Thank you.
So you will not participate. So I go to a small case and then I'll come back. Ama siduri kaya na kit thase.
माउस में यूज करो
अच्छा mouse.
क्या माउस है
So this is long So I'll just present a small clipping which is again a part of the learning methodology. So we'll see the case, we will observe and we will discuss about it. And then if time permits, we'll take up second case also. So Dr. Dhaval was there with this case, he is there. You can share at the end your
Yeah.
So this is a I don't know, anyone have seen this case? No. Dhaval, you are okay. So Dr. Dhaval was there at Sumeru Hospital when this case was taken. And I consider this is one of the good case to create learning circumstance. So this is a case of 3-year-old girl who was brought by our social worker from the village and who was shown to various doctors and they were said that nothing can be done, so they did not want any treatment. And she basically was an unwanted child. And still that taboo is there in villages, girl child, and they did not want her to get treated so that they, they expected that she will die. So they were waiting for that. What do you see? What do you observe? Yes. How did you feel about this? Huh?
Not good.
Not good. What was that not good feeling?
Because the child was screaming like anything.
True.
And the frustration and anger was so much expressed by hitting the floor.
Yes.
And this much.
This much. How did you like her?
She is very, as a child we will definitely not like.
So as a mother, you will not.
No, not like मीन्स जैसे किसी बच्चे को देखकर उसको गोद लेने का मन होता है वैसी वाली फीलिंग नहीं है ऐसा बोल रही हूँ
Perfect. Good. Any other contribution? Okay.
She does not want it to be carried.
She doesn't want to be carried. Very good.
Attention seeking.
Attention seeking.
I think she can't
Delayed
walk.
milestone.
Delayed milestones.
She can't walk or she doesn't want.
No, she can't go. I'll keep it. Yeah.
Wants to clean mother.
Does she?
She didn't want it.
Even later part, when she was she was compelled to walk, at that time she wants to clean mother. She doesn't want need of assistance of anyone. She wants to go with mother.
Okay.
Shrieking and striking her hands on the floor.
Shrieking and
And rolling on the floor.
rolling on the floor.
Obstinate.
Very characteristic. Yes. Anything else? Yes, ma'am. ADHD. ADHD. Okay. Okay.
hitting the mother like that means मार रही है
मार रही है.
obstinate
Obstinate.
very irritable
Yes.
Impatience.
Impatient. Do we have black board?
Very angry and violent.
Very angry and violent. So can you just, Dr. Dhawan, write down what are the observations? Anything else?
Ma'am,
Yes.
during the clip we have seen she is bending her hand. Bend
Huh.
up. By observation it is like she don't want to go with anyone. There is something in past history also for the behavior of the patient. Madam, she is doing like this.
Holding
herself. Holding herself.
Strong. Yes.
Don't
I
want
was
to
in
be
the
touched.
centers.
I wasn't, yes. Don't want to be touched.
Okay. Don't want to be
Touched.
touched. Anything else?
Then I think she was demand something.
Uh-huh. You
She
feel that?
wants something.
It was a
Continue
short
on.
clip, ma'am. So the whole story was not understood. Why she was shrieking and what she was demanding.
Nothing, there's no reason.
Okay, this is just the.
Mother said this is the scenario at home all the
This
time.
is the behavior routine which she follows.
she was only screaming without actually making tear there is no
Without tears.
without tear there is only screaming
True. Anything else?
Difficult to handle.
Difficult to handle. Okay. Fine. Any more point? So I told you she's 3 years old. Looking to 3 years old, anything more addition you would like to make?
Neglected person.
Why she's crying?
Huh?
Why she's crying?
There was no reason. We were taking the case and she was crying, and that's how I told one of the intended, take this video. Case taking is going on outside, not inside.
So she actually doesn't know that why she's crying.
Crying. So causeless, maybe?
Causeless.
According to her age, she is malnourished also.
True. So malnourishment, madam, you feel ADHD also. Can you just focus on why ADHD in this child?
I think as she is a third member, you told third member, third
Yes.
child of the family,
Uh-huh.
and might be possible during obstetric period of her mother, she was not able to take that much of nutrients, whatever the mother should have.
Mm-hmm.
One thing. And second thing, attention deficit hyperactive child. She seems to be.
Okay.
And she's...
Tell me what they have come up with. What is the chief complaint that they have come up with? This is our observation. Yes, sir?
Behavior of child. She's confused.
behavioral disorder sort of.
Shrieking and
Behavioral disorder.
As I told you, she came with the complaint of mother. They had a complaint that she's not able to walk, she's not talking. So these are the complaints also. I don't think we cannot even forget that even before labeling ADHD, because these are important aspects which are coming up from various participants. We all are looking at from various angles. Right? Anything else? ADHD behavior. Any other diagnosis coming up?
Temper tantrums.
Temper tantrums. Okay. Okay. Temper tantrums, then? Fine. I think the purpose is that did we all became alert little bit? Were we supposed to observe? Were we supposed to do something out of that? Do we need to create meaning out of whatever we are watching? Will that be different than what we talked for first 15 minutes? Did you enjoy that or you enjoyed this better? You know, these are the various methodology. Sorry? You wanted to say? He was there when this case was taken. He was at Suleru then. Yeah.
It was a comparison of lecturing and
Practical
approach.
Right. And that practical approach is known as problem-based learning. Problem-based learning. And that is what now they entertain all the teachers to go for this. Rather than lecturing. Concepts, of course, I understand. But as we said that we need to engage students, we need to make them a part, active participation. So we all would like to observe, no, should not have forgotten anything. So that. Any other important aspect? So I think what you can just don't want to be touched, temper tantrums, rolling on floor, screaming without tears, difficult to, someone say doesn't want to be touched, then that is there. And then
Does not want to be carried.
doesn't want to be carried,
Delayed milestone.
striking, shrieking, rolling, striking, all the expressions that are there you can think about is available. Fine. And malnutrition somewhere, because whatever we do, of course we have to keep diagnosis in mind because it's important. Sorry?
Delayed milestone.
Delayed milestones, it's either global developmental delay. So these are the questions which can come up. Isn't it? And now we will have to, so can we create learning circumstances like this and try to understand, like make a student involved. So what all we did and what we could create out of 2 minutes clippings. We can go for any movie clipping, we can go for any clipping, and we can create that learning circumstance which can be quite permanent in mind for students, and it can be more interactive and more interesting. And what is sustaining is much more in our mind than what it is. So I think how do we convert this into learning material? You know, this video, this is the live patient, but material for students. So what do you observe? So they can write down, and the concept of observation can be, and for homeopath, observation, that too in pediatric, there is no option than doing that. You know, someone was asking how do you take case, because I work with pediatric patients. So how do you take case? So I said interns take the case and I observe and I complete the case and I prescribe also, and their case taking is still going on. So that is what I started teaching them, that observe children when they are outside. Do not observe children when they are in the, you should observe, you must observe, but mothers would like you to behave perfectly. So you are not what you are, especially in little bit older children. So outside, our compounder knows what patient is much more than what we know what our patient is. Our compounder would say, and this will be sepia only, you take the case, I am sure she will be sepia. So their observation. Now how does that come? They have not studied homeopathy, but they are much more, they have experienced that they are much more sharper. And then even if you prescribe, no, think over, she doesn't look like this. So even compounder can become, being a good learner, he could grasp all those things. So what do you observe in this? Write down all your observation on paper. We can ask students to do that. What are the observations were there? Convert your observation into symptoms. We have to do, we just don't observe to observe. What is so strike? So can we identify what are qualified illness? What are qualified and what are qualified mental symptoms? So I think we have almost covered major expressions of anger, if you can say. Striking, biting, rolling, tantrums, doesn't like to be touched. So these are quality. We can go to who gave importance to maintenance. So rather than first telling students that can give importance to mental, can give importance to mental, can we generate this type of teaching methodology and talk who gave importance to mental? Okay. Now analyze and evaluate the symptom. Can you make totality out of that? I think majority must be with the remedy. Good. Any other remedy? Tarantula. So those who are with ADHD will be tarantula. Then chamomilla. Any other remedy? Are you there with us? Sorry, MAC-CARB. If you now which location we take will make difference. What was the state and unwanted side? Of course, why not?
Complementary, and there is a history of abortion and like that. That's
true. No, that definitely will come up. We don't have all data. So this is the learning process for us. How do we hypothesize and understand and interpret and confirm? So that is the training we homeopaths are supposed to have, because we hypothesize before it, this must be this, and we confirm through case taking and through other things. Right? We can make totality. They have come to the remedy without repetition also. Select appropriate repertory. So when this many qualified striking mentals are there, which repertory should we think of? Can. We normally use synthesis, but we say can. Because now can, no one uses can.
But synthesis is based on the concept of can.
Absolutely. You know, this thing happened. As I told you, I had last week Trivandrum. I went for resource person, and we had a small group, and everyone came with the remedy, and that remedy that I didn't give. Then they asked me, "Have you repertorized from can?" What difference does that make? Of course, there are few remedies which are not available in can, but my purpose was not to prove what remedy. My purpose is to understand how we can create this teaching methodology. Now, what you use synthesis, or who uses Kant anymore?
There is always a compilation of
It's
things.
a compilation of all. No, but then your totality is based on Kant's concept. So philosophical approach is definitely applied. Your totality was on the base of Kant, so that is we have taken up Kant's approach. So these are the things we may not get from Magalapit, but then Kant, because certain remedies are not available. But then we have to grow, we cannot remain there. So synthesis talking about more and more proving, we have to go ahead. So select, convert above symptoms into rubric. Repertorize the case. I think can we do this much from this small can we do this 2 minutes clippings? We can talk for 1 hour for that.
Yeah.
Can we not? We can go on. Now can we talk on cry? Can we talk on cry? What is the type of cry?
Moaning, weeping,
When you
shouting.
say chamomilla, what other remedy will come up when you talk about cry? Sina will come up. What is the cry of Sina? What is the cry? What you felt will also make difference in understanding the remedy, because it is said when you physician also gets fed up with that cry. So these are the statements which are available in Materia Medica. But we can convert that into learning material if we can just, and this is what is problem based or patient based learning we can create. Right? So this is only just to focus that this all is possible from 2 minutes clip. And then we can go on talking about observations. We can talk about unprejudiced observation, 6 aphorism which you can connect it with organon, because organon repertory material are interdependent. You know, so at the end we will have to go to the Materia Medica and decide it. So this is what is one of the methodology which we should entertain. So we need to keep 6 wise men with us always. Why, what, when. That can help us to understand. So I'll just go through the presentation of this patient and see the follow-up. And because now it is very important that is there any curiosity in us that what this case is of? What is the diagnosis? What must be the diagnosis? What the remedy is given? What must be the reputation? And what are we going to expect from this case? So I think we forget that. That is very, very important. That what am I going to expecting in this case? What am I expecting in this case? Am I going to help this patient at what level? Right? Dhaval, you want to share anything for this case? So I never knew he is coming. I just saw him today here.
It was a surprise for you.
It was.
And I was under training with Emma Madam at that time in 2008 and 9. And still the name of that patient is in my memory. So this is the power of XNL learning. I've been with the patient for assessment assessment at the pediatric physiotherapist, because facilities were not there in Sumeru. We have been to Aurora with that patient, so that I've learned so many things with this XNL learning which I want to take. So this is still in my mind, and I am able to handle this type of cases now because of that learning I have achieved many years back. And I am fortunate enough to have Madam as my guide too in PhD. Thank you.
So let me brief about the case. A 3-year unwanted poor girl was brought with lots of efforts by community health worker because they never wanted her to get treated, with a complaint of inability to walk. There was no speech, bad temper, there was frontal bossing. So these are important aspects that we need to observe, and if we observe, we can convert it into the clinical material also. And what is the most important we all have missed is that she's 3-year-old girl, she's breastfeeding. The last video when mother was trying to feed her. Now isn't that also important for us? Because management, ancillary, auxiliary measures. So this thing can teach us so many things, clinically also, that will be a part of your resolution aspect also, that stop breastfeeding, where is she going to gain weight from? Right? And mother is also very lean thing, very anemic. So observation, pediatrician said nothing can be done. So we were there, Dhaval and all. And we have a team, we work with integrated approach, where in one case is looked by myself as a HOD, then pediatrician would look at it, and all integrated approach is there. We all discuss and then decide what is to be done. And for this case, pediatrician said, no, then we have to assess this case, that what is she suffering from. Now, we never knew what is she suffering from, but we have to authentify. So that is what Dr. Dhaval said. Because we didn't have facility, she was sent with him and one intern, I suppose, to Baroda. We got with the help of pediatrician, we got all X-rays and all done. So I will not go into depth about it, but it was diagnosed as cerebral palsy with rickets. And pediatricians say that we don't have any role to play in this type of cases. So you can just give supplement and send her home. And that is the answer they had received before also. And that is how they had lost hope. And what is the role of homeopathy and scope of homeopathy in cerebral palsy? I had never seen such type of disorder before in my practice. But still, something motivated me that can I prescribe in this case? Let me prescribe. And I told pediatrician that can I prescribe in this case, because at least we knew that what is so characteristic. These are all done. X-ray skull, X-ray pelvis. There is a long list of pediatric physiotherapist observation which I have not added. So let's go straight. So now we can again come back to Dr. Kent's method. We have already enumerated all the symptoms what we have observed, expressions of anger and all. Kent's method, where first should be emotional, then modality, positive, then modality is emotional first, intellectual, ameliorating modality. All this is we are aware of. And observation, of course, is a regulated perception of events under condition present. And this again is taught by Dr. Kent. Observation, so we have been studying all throughout importance of observation. So you can analyze the case, you can evaluate the case on the basis of Kent's repertory. So anger, violence, which children in, this is how we can go into the repertory. Now we always miss out. Anger, we just find out and we do not qualify that in children in, and so many rubrics, children in is there as a sub-rubric, which we normally miss out. That anger, 3 banging head. If you go still further, sub-rubric, there can be children in. And that can be more characteristic and qualified, and that is the purpose of repertory like
These rubrics are in synthesis also?
Yes?
Okay, I've seen in complete children.
No, synthesis. Very much. I have repertory from synthesis. Yes. So looked at cannot bear to be now. You know, she did not like that physician was tracking it. And we all have otherwise also identified it can be chamomile, it can be sina, tarantula, pediatric. But then if you really focus on the type of core of anger, aggression and its expression and the way that cry is making us uncomfortable, sina, chamomile comes up much more. And when you repertorize, this is coming up. Chamomile 30, 3 powder was started in this case with gradual improvement, 400 was continued. Of course, it was not only homeopathic medicine. Now, this again is a very important part of the knowledge, is aphorism 3 that we should have. I cannot claim homeopathic medicine only did wonders. Of course, behavior 100% that we have done. But when you talk about spasticity and all, there is definite role of physiotherapy in that. Without that, you cannot claim. But we are also trying to understand in cases without physiotherapy and trying to learn whether homeopathic medicine acts at that level also or not, and it does. But it definitely hastens the process of recovery when physio, psycho all together are done. So advice physiotherapy, development as the most important is stop breastfeeding. Now if I have observed, I will advise. If I haven't observed, I will not advise. Vitamin A and this was prescribed by pediatrician. He said you can just start with supplement and we cannot do anything. So now what happened, that we all know we work so hard. and there was no report from her. So she came till some period that she started walking with support and all, but there was no report then. And then I have experience that more you invest, patient doesn't turn up. More investment, because your investment, you want what happened to that, because this was the first of that type case where we were also learning. So then we have full-time social workers. So we asked them that go home and try to find out why she's not coming. And then I said, bring him here in the campus. We would like. She said that, like they said she's fine. So I said no, we would like to see. And that the pediatrician was also there the day she was brought. Here to assess the result and all. Only our purpose is teaching, learning process. We learn so much.
जितनी धूप तेरी उतनी ही मेरी, जितना चांद तेरा उतना ही मेरा, बादल हो या राहें हो या गाड़ियां, एहसास होना लगा बता, मिलके कहेंगे हम, हमें हक है, हमें हक है, हम है अधिकार, उसे जीएंगे हम, हम है अधिकार, उसे जीएंगे हम, उसे जीएंगे हम, गर्व से।
And when you see this, I think your confidence increases threefold that we can do something. I don't say all the cases you get such results. This was one of the case, and I would say this case I consider as a shooting star for me, because out of this case, as on today, we have started, I'll just show pictures at the end, started a cerebral palsy center, wherein we are treating almost 200 children suffering from cerebral palsy. So, and it's a wonderful results that we are able to create. So I think this case definitely helps us to understand what is problem-based learning, PBL or patient-based learning. And I think as Dr. Dhaval rightly said that today also he remembers. We don't remember all the cases by heart. And like patients we don't remember anything about it. We also have preferences, even we are supposed to have or not, but we do have. And some cases are very close to our heart. This case is very close to my heart because that gave me a new way of thinking in homeopathy and creating a center which is named as Ummid Cerebral Palsy Center with the tagline of Hope Lives Here. And that's what we are doing at Karjan. You all are most welcome. If anyone is interested, we can organize something, your trip to our center, which is how much from here? I don't know, 2 hours, sir? More than 2 hours. But if you are interested, you are most welcome to visit our center since you have come from long way. Right? So shall we go for second case or shall we go for theory or you want a break? It's 12:30. Continue, Kareem? Okay, we can continue for half an hour more and then we will stop. And theory, I don't think you need to, those PowerPoint are supposed to be available to you, I suppose. I'm not so sure about it. Okay, so shall we go for a case only? Second case. We will have 4 or 5 slides of PBL and then we will go for second case. I will not discuss, this is again clinical learning. Do we need to talk about it? What are types of clinical learning and all? I think we all know as such. So this is little more important, I found, problem-based learning. And that's what we have tried to focus. You can also say it as a clinical also. The second case is more of going to the clinical matter. In learning you will teach and in teaching you will learn. And that's That's a two-way process. We never should think that I am teaching, so I am not learning. We, day in and day out, we go on learning. You will never learn as much as when you are teaching. I am always ready to learn, although I do not always like being taught. These are the important statements, because once teacher's label is there, somewhere we restrict ourselves that we know everything and we are not supposed to know any more for this subject. Education is not the learning of facts but the training of mind to think. And that is what is important rather than teaching them what is right, what is wrong, what is. They should observe and they should. It's action learning that we have to think about. What is problem-based learning? This is what I told you that national education policy is also now talking about, that it should more often than not should be problem-based learning. Challenging students learn through engagement in a real problem. Simultaneously develop problem-solving strategies, disciplinary knowledge bases and skill. Places student in active role of problem solver. They are active. It's a participative method. It's not a passive. Confronted with typical and problem clinical cases that they are likely to face as future. It's student-centered because we want them to learn through this methodology. Fundamental shift is focus on teaching to a focus on learning. Process aimed at using the power of authentic problem solving by engaging students, enhance their learning, and of course their motivation. I think this can motivate all of us that we can do in whatever things, even we are not clear what diagnosis is. I was clear that chamomilla was the diagnosis for this case, which motivated to act and which helped to discuss with pediatricians. So that confidence, that motivation and inspiration we can get from that. Unique aspect is learning occurs in the context of authentic tasks, issues and problems. It is directly connection. Now case is there is a context. So that is always, you can remember, align with real world concerns, stimulate students to take responsibility for their own learning. Now how much you engage yourself, you are going to learn. If you don't engage with this, you are not going to learn. So learning is of course directly proportionate to the engagement and commitment student shows for with the case or with the material. So very few lectures, no structure, sequence of assignment. So now this case can help us to read so many things: rickets, malnutrition, cerebral palsy, ADHD, chamomilla, observation, SENA. So many reading material that if we want to study, we can study, and that is what is important to have simultaneous lateral learning, which is very important. Foster collaboration among students. I think that will make team, so that we should perform better. This can be a teamwork, and they can learn to work. They can learn to represent. Like we have in our college, IM, which is integrated medical education. In that we do the same thing. That case, like the case which I am going to show second, is for the next CM. So up to some level I have prepared, but I could prefer that case rather than theory to be discussed. So how can we create that? So we prepare a case, we circulate that, and we give particular directive and objective that do this, do this, do this, do this. Which tissue is involved, which structure is involved, from anatomy, then physiology, which functioning, then pharmacy, then pathology, what is changed. So this is how we circulate, and then one day is IME day, where all the students, so this will cover anatomy, physiology, all the subjects. And each group will be made, and they have to make PPT of, solve the whole case with PPT according to guided objectives and directives, and they have to present. So like when they come in first year and when they are in fourth and final year, you can see the shift in them, because it helps you to talk in front of presentation, performance. So many advantages are there with that type of teaching learning processes. So role of instructor changes from sage on the stage. Guide by side. You have to re-guide. Like these people will make their PPT and go to respective class HOD, subject HOD, and they will guide, and then standard will be prepared. But that will be prepared by them. So when that is action learning. So They learn an integrated medical education. Now if we separately teach them this is anatomy, this is physio, this is no. In one case, how we can integrate all the knowledge and understand myism also, understand postology, understand organomy. I mean, each case is potential enough to integrate all the subjects. And if that is done, I think students can be much more confident, and they will also learn clinical. They normally, rule out that it is not required, and that is where homeopaths are not valued in that. You should mean many places, so you should be very confident clinically also. Why can't you discuss? For that you will have to work hard, and that work hard is an option nowadays for students. I would say.
One more thing I have observed by doing this activities, that at least that much student can master that much topic at least.
Absolutely.
Being the poorest student of the class can answer those answers which they have presented in front of the class.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and that is permanent.
This is good.
That's not a short-term memory. That's a long-term memory, and that is what we should try to create in our students. They are not bored, they are active, engaged as a problem solver, decision maker, they have to make decisions. These are the advantages, and they are not a passive listener and not taker only. They also give. So their suggestion many a times bring, oh okay, I didn't think about this. So that openness as a teacher also we should have. So I think we have understood the reasons for PBL. Students disenchanted, bored with their education. So much of curriculum, if you integrate, can be learned in a better way. Traditional classrooms do not prepare students to work with others in collaborative team situation, because that's independent and you are passive, so that learning is not there. Research in psychology has found that, I think this is the pyramid, that 90% like learning pyramid, 90% learning happens when you teach others, 70%, 75% by practice doing, 50% by discussion, 30% by demonstration, 20% audio visual, 10% by reading and lecture. So this is the pyramid of teaching and learning processes, and we need to decide which process is applicable for our student for better learning. So studies have shown that in 90 days, students forget 90% of everything. Everything they have been told in 90 days. That's what I said, that their memory is only for 90 days. So if I read today and if you take exam, I can be better. But if you take it after 90 days, not necessary, because last what I read I can remember, not the earlier one. Motivation is in traditional classroom environment is also usually low because you are passive and you are receiving and compulsory. You have to sit. You like teacher, you don't like teacher, you like teaching, their teaching, but you have to sit because you are supposed to have presence. So advantages of PBL versus traditional learning. So students enjoy the process of learning. A challenging program introduced for students because they are motivated to learn by a need to understand and solve clinical problems. So they have to take action, and that is how they are learning. The relevance of information learned is readily apparent. So traditional learning, told what we need to know, memorize it, what we need to know. So you memorize that this can be asked as a full question, this can be asked as a short note. So we just memorize that, problem assigned to illustrate how to use it. And when you talk about problem-based learning, it is problem assigned, identify what we need to know, learn and apply it to solve the problem. So the process in traditional and PBL is totally opposite and different, and that is how it is said PBL is a better method to teach. So now it is not so we give case and we have as an instructor, and we have to facilitate the process also. Giving the case does not solve the problem. But we will also have to have an instructor and facilitator who can facilitate the whole learning process in a better way. Fosters critical thinking. Now that is very much in now, critical thinking. You have to be very critical in thinking. Guide students in the direction they wish to pursue as long as all learner outcomes are addressed. So before they come, facilitates the whole process. Provides general assistance in locating resources and interpreting original work. What is the role of students when we talk about PBL? Develop skill in observing and characterizing pattern of communication breakdown. Work collaboratively to analyze cases and identify issues that need to be addressed. Research the issues. Engage in the process of discovery. Lead and participate in small group discussion that arrive at integration and application of the knowledge to the client or patient population. So, completely integrated PBL curriculum can be planned. But then each will have to be planned separately. One case may not be able to, one certain aspect can be done by that. Transitional approach, basic foundation courses are in lecture format. Higher level courses use PBL. So basic, of course, what is homeopathy, what aphorisms we need to first understand basics, where lectures will be there. But when application of that knowledge comes up, that will be in fourth year and So they don't want me to continue anymore. Only I will be able to understand what is normal and what is abnormal. But we cannot expect as a PhD scholar or PG student that they should know diagnosis. How would they know? So that means it has to be directly proportionate to the level that they are and their module and their curriculum. So you don't expect UG level to straight go to diagnosis. Not at the first year, not second year, maybe not third, maybe third, fourth you can start engaging them with clinical aspect. Till then you can just make them understand this is normal, and like we had a case of wrist drop which was taken up. So what are the bones here, what are the joints here, what are the muscles, what happens when drop is there, why drop is there, what is physiology, what is the functioning which has been altered. Then you go to pharmacy then. What are the medicines which are given for because injuries or whatever. So it is directly proportionate to the level of the student. So you cannot expect planning and programming and everything and susceptibility from first year. And not now, organon is out from first year, which is not a very welcoming thing because you cannot understand like organon which should be there from the first year. That's, we can't comment on that. But so I think Dr. Dawal, you have to limit yourself to that particular and modules that we have made it accordingly.
Relevancy should be there.
Relevance. Validity and relevance. Relevance should be there with what you do. Anything, any discussion?
Purely academic point of view for the graduate students, when we are teaching them the subject of repertory in final year, there is because we have evolved from the sheet filling to computer repertory, there is a gap.
Yes.
Because we have all compiled repertories with computer repertories these days, and when we are teaching them the specific repertories like 10, Dr. Boning Hussain or Dr. Gogar, and then because of the evolution of the computer repertories, it's very difficult to convince them to work on the sheet method.
Absolutely.
So that we should evolve, I think so, as a syllabus.
I feel that repertory syllabus.
I guess everybody will agree.
From Kent, Gogar, Boning Hussain and go to synthesis complete or
They should know theory, yes.
Because I think that is a very important thing. We study something else and we operate on something else.
So it does not match.
It doesn't match it. Can you believe like during exams, the whole group, repertory exam, they all wrote down the totality and repertorization. I said, how, where is the sheet? So they said, we have done it on phone.
Because everybody
I
has
said,
that.
two blunders. You are not supposed to use phone
Yeah.
during Viva. So that is your first crime. And second, you are not supposed to repertorize on that. But I think that
They think that we have evolved and we have such a technique available. You are teaching that technique, and that technique is not being applied because 10 rubrics we are doing technically, taking 1 hour to solve, which they ask us a question, do you do this in your clinics as well?
no, but then you can
I know
always
it's a learning
answer
process.
that I must have done 100 of cases like this, and
Then
so I know
the page
now.
number of Kent repertory. Okay, this is available on this page. So
Why
what
do you
is
know?
the-
Why you should know that? You don't need to know which page number it is required. You should know application, that where should I find out this.
That is more practical.
That is more practical. So, this happens in class, yes.
But what is happening in computer programs, they are not well versed where to find, so they go for the search directly.
That is all meaning,
Then-
everything is available.
Yeah, that is right. But exactly what problem is, their basics in a clear.
See, and that is what happens that they, I know I tried to rectify this, that open one page, find out this rubric. In the process of finding out that rubric, how many rubrics are you going through? Right. When you go to computer, you click and that is coming out. So you can have much more knowledge into, I always say the bio, the journal. What is the importance of journal? So journal importance is, at least I should practice 50 cases through manual. Use it not with, otherwise in practice, who says that practice through scan or practice through this book, but BBCR or something. But at least you should know the methodology. And you should know what, where, what is the plan and construction, where Kent is writing craving aversion, and where synthesis is talking about craving and aversion. So, but I do agree that there should be upgradation of the curriculum of Kent, and so many repertory teachers are there. We all should work on that and have a suggestion that let us now go one step again and get out of, because if you use synthesis, all the repertories are coming out. Yeah, you should know basic concept, what these authors are talking about. But otherwise, same feeling I had that what we are going on talking about Kent and we repertory on synthesis.
One problem related to this only, that when we discuss about the miasms
Yes.
related to these medicines, even students, not only students, the teacher even don't know the medicine which miasm it belongs to. Whether it is psychotic, it is syphilitic, and miasm को correct करके, उसको match करके, we can prescribe the remedy. Theoretically we say कि it is a bridge between organal materia and all these repertory, these are all subjects. हम इनको एक bridge बना करके फिर medicine देंगे. But practically it is not given. And it is not teaching.
I would say it is not being taught.
It is not
Because
taught.
if you will consider analysis and evaluation. So when you talk about analyzing the symptom, what last point is miasm. Each symptom, when we analyze whether it is disposition or it is symptom, whether it is mental or it is physical, whether it is mental then it is emotional or intellectual, it is physical, particular or general, and then at the end, the last classification is miasm. So then we can conclude that majority are from this miasm we can think of. Then differentiation. So can I focus 2 minutes on this? So what you say miasm, we have a tool known as repertorial syndrome, and second is potential differential theory, PDF. So everything is there, we don't follow it, and that is how students don't follow. So like PDF, first thing is what? When we have a case record where there is a repertorization, then there is a page for PDF, potential differential theory. So the first PDF is what?
Thermal, disposition,
Acute, chronic, chili, hot, miasm, and then according to the approach, what are the differentiating points? So if it is bogus, differentiating point will be different, like mine will be for differentiation. If it is scanned, qualified will be there in repertorial syndrome and PDF. So I think that if you just, if you can refer symposium volume, I hope you must be, because I would say that is the best material for repertories given in symposium volume. Of course, S.K. Tiwari sir's book is excellent, but much more is from, that's what he has written in his preface also, that things are from symposium volume, and D volume is on repertorization. And there it is very beautifully written that if you are taking a Bonnie-Husson's method, your PDF will be this. But common remains hot chili, thermal, miasm, and acute corollary.
Sometimes constitution.
Acute, So there are many non-repertorial approaches.
Yeah.
So miasmatic can be one of the non-repertorial approach also. So we may not go for repertorial approach in that case, when we are only thinking about. But each case we have to give importance to miasm, and that is where PDF is there. We don't entertain students to practice that. So we have a case record where RS PDF is there in printed only. So you are supposed to fill that up. So that definitely helps. That is what I am saying, that students also and we also process everything, but we give what we want. I process the case totally, but I give the medicine which I want. And if that thing is gone, and then our learning will be much better. This medicine I thought for this. Then I will try to modify reports and symptoms in a way that medicine is covering those symptoms I may take up in our totality. And so I think that is what Dr. Disha is saying is very true, that we can modify repertory, curriculum, so that, and then synthesis and all they use day in and day out, but they don't know philosophy or who published it. They just use because phone application is there. They don't open this repertory at all. They only will go for before you think their repertorization is ready. And then, but I tell you,
that's when they are always in their curiosity to know what is the end process of the case.
Absolutely.
In fourth year I have seen
following the process.
Yeah. They don't see the journey of the case. They see kya kiya hai case mein and what is the outcome.
So that is how we have our degree known as MICR, which is known as Member Institute of Clinical Research. Out of 100, right remedy is 5 marks. Right remedy, if you have only 5 marks for that. But if your process is wrong, you are out. Because you will not be replicate that knowledge in other cases. So find remedy, because I have seen students are only interested in which medicine. But they don't want to understand why. What is the philosophy behind it? What are the differentiating points? So that they are, we will not, but now the psychology has changed so much, and if we remain to our psychology and our mode of teaching them, then there will be a lot of gap which will be created. So you have to be with them, but we don't have to be with them. So that skill we have to apply. So I always specify you should. And the disadvantage, I don't forget this case, that there was a case of injury, pure case of RBP. But exam mein tha, so you have to repertorize. So they repertorize and they came to sulfur.
Yeah.
And they came sulfur. I said, where is your knowledge and what is the application of knowledge? This happens. Then I asked, if that patient would have come to you otherwise, then I would have given RBP. So for repertory is advantages and disadvantages.
The selection of the rubric and repertory will play a vital role.
Very, very. So what we do also, like in practice, that we ask them to repertorize. And then sit with them, and this is possible at interns level and 4th year students, and then you repertorize and show the difference. That's what I did in 3-4 cases last time. Okay, you repertorize. So they are very superficial in converting symptom into group.
And they're stuck at common and
irritable, anxious, nervous, cooperative. These are 4 or 5. They don't go beyond that. Company desire, company not desire. The craving aversion, they are able to find out multiple, which are 50% wrong if you recheck. So that.
Madam, I would actually asked about the question of miasm. What is your expertise opinion on the article-based miasmatic repertory which came in 96? to a certain time where we have to depend on the miasmatic influence, or that we have to think of miasmatic heredity. As we know, it is a master work, like whatever work Dr. Aarti Patel
There's no
said.
question about it.
What is your expertise opinion in which type of cases we should go, or we should motivate our students to use in certain cases only that approach?
Sorry, I won't be able to opine on that because I haven't used so much. Because we generally use miasmatic, basic miasmatic theory, anti-miasmatic, and accordingly, like miasm, we try to judge at the level of mind and body both, and then we conclude. And if anyone have experience, can share. It will be learning for me also. I haven't used that repertory. Did you use that?
Very occasionally.
But certain time what happens, madam, how we are going to motivate our students, because being a faculty, we are also not in the position to use that also.
So technology might help you, as he says, that the
Aarti Patel is now converted into
Temperas and all, they give you
no, they have one.
filter.
They've come up with one where there is a miasmatic analysis of the symptoms, and there is a book also. On that filter, they have made work on digital stuff.
Actually, the case just now we saw. The chamomilla came out, and no one bothered about the miasm, and the chamomilla did whatever it was supposed to do. The diagnosis was even cerebral palsy, and somebody gave like condition. So even we can think about the miasm, but actually the miasm, as I think, the miasm make us to narrow down the search. If we are able to search in the portion, then why we have to narrow?
That's why it is PDF.
It's like, viewing things
Yes.
from
Filtering.
general to you filter, and that process they don't want to do.
Yes. And they want something out of the box.
They want
Chamomilla,
straight
they are not convinced. They want something out of the box, rare remedy, not arnica, not chamomilla.
They only feel satisfied, their satiety is only satisfied.
But the other bubbles.
But we are satisfied with the result, the perfect simile.
Yeah.
Whether it can be arnica, whether it can be chamomilla, or whether it can be plasmodium. Because we know what they are able to do if they are indicated.
Yes. So I think there is a nice statement by Dr. Kent which says that if your mentals are matching, I have in other presentation, there is a beautiful statement by Dr. Kent. So they have mentioned, but we don't come out of only mind. We only think mind can, mental is can. It is written that if your mind, like mentals are matching whatever may be the pathology, go ahead with that. That statement is there somewhere. So that is there, but we do not think about this. Whatever may be the pathology.
One strong mental rule out of many.
Many physics.
So if our totality is matching the remedy,
Yes.
miasm will go with the life.
It applies to similimum everywhere.
Any level. And second, miasm does not only talk about what is present. We have to think about predisposition, what is family history, what is past history. Only this disease may not be able to help us, but we have to identify miasm, write it down, that is required. So that I think that again is a concept that I wanted to focus on is therapeutic problem definition and therapeutic problem resolution. So that is again one of the very beautiful tools that we use is therapeutic problem definition. We identify the problem, then we write down what are the factors which will help me to. So what I want first to get cured or relieved. So that my expectation is that at least her temper tantrum goes down. I never thought perceived was. So at least her temper tantrum goes down. So if that is there, no, then you second you write down spasticity can go. Now, if mind is clear by chamomilla, but if spasticity is not responding, I may have to think about anti-miasmatic, provided there is predisposition or miasmatic load in family, in past history, everything. So I think there are multiple ways. It's not only one filter which can help to understand miasm, but predisposition, disposition, and what patient, family history, and fundamental miasm and dominant miasm. That we have to identify. So if patient has moved on further, we may have to go for other miasm. So now when we take cases of CP, case. What were we talking about? Do we have time? It's 1:15, so that's how I was planning to conclude. I mean, I don't know. I think so. He said finish by 1. Huh? Case may not be get over within 15 minutes.
You can decide what to do.
Okay, yeah. What I was telling is that now in cases of sick, like this case did not require, but in all the cases we identify like there is a comorbidity of epilepsy with that, more often than not with cerebral palsy, mental retardation is there. So at the onset we identify that this is the myasthenic fluid, looking to family history, past history and present dominant. We write down that if there is no registration of medicine, we will use this anti-myasthenic medicine in the process. So that is a part of planning and programming in each case. So we identify that and write it. The moment we have remedy reaction, we study and we feel that there is a need of higher potency, repetition, and then myasthenia is one of the factors. And there are cases where epilepsy and all is there, we have to do frequent repetition up to the beginning. And wonderful result comes. I think it was a good interactive, I am happy I learned something, and good interactive session, and I think we all together should modify the curriculum of repertory and we should have inclusion of latest repertory which people are like Murphy is such a wonderful, very nice, but our students don't even see Kent, Bogle, Boning, Hussain. If I ask how many volumes are there in synthetic repertory, they tell me. Simple question, how many volumes are there in synthetic repertory? One will say 1, one will say 5, one will say 3. Like, because that's not in curriculum and that is out of question that they would even touch those repertories. Yes, must, it has to be must. And that we all, since we all are together, I will always sign for if you have a circular that we should modify.
Well, I
We are just 1897 Kent, we are just stuck up there.
Yes.
There is so much of like if you repertorize Kent, carcinosin doesn't come. If you repertorize symphysis, all the cases carcinosis.
Yeah.
But many cases, what I say that it depends on the totality that we are making.
Well, according to curriculum, they have started repertory, main repertory in third year. And final year is a
second session. But there is
in final year they have to complete 55 cases. In that
Final year?
in journal, according to CCH, they have to write down 55 cases. 40 cases. Total and madam, they have 20 in
There is a lot of star below and that star is under
Quite question mark.
Because we worked and we continued with 30 only. We have not come up with 55, so it was a news for me.
And they have to work out 10 cases in third year.
Third year.
So madam, if they are using 10 repertory in third year, so if we form a new protocol, they have to work out 5 cases from synthesis, 5 from Murphy.
Should be. Should be. So I think it's your responsibility to go ahead and try.
We will try.
And we are there.
I am not instructing anybody, I am just interacting on this. That's what I like to do.
For example, case of fever is there. How to use BBCR in case of fever? Synoptic, but with BBCR we have been given that it should go only with chronic case. 5 chronic.
How can I use
BBCR with chronic fever? It should be an acute case, but no. 5 cases of BBCR.
Maybe you can understand the importance of chapter of fever.
No case on fever because BBCR is 5 chronic cases. And chronic cases in BBCR, I will not get the outcome in a case. So not justifiable. The result is not justifiable.
Anything, any point that we need to discuss? Second case we may keep it for next time because it's a very different case of clinical case. I can brief that case just. Shall we? So like before, I would just like, since I have this opportunity that people are there, we have friends from all over, I would like to just show brief about the center that we are working with. So we all can have one center like this at our place. So this is our hospital at Karjan where I invite you all. पहले आप आओ ना, then you will motivate your students whether to motivate or not. So we have various departments. So I am taking care of Department of Pediatrics, and as I told you, Kinjal was the first case which allowed me, and it so happened that the camp we kept after like 2010 this girl came, and then we kept a camp, and to our surprise it was general camp of pediatrics, but 50% patients were special children. Then I thought, what is this? Then third camp began, and in third camp 100% were special children. And that was taken as something that I felt that I need to do something in such disorder where nothing has been done so far. And that was taken up, I would say, by me, and my whole institute supported, and I got a good donor also. And that is how we inaugurated Cerebral Palsy Center in 2016. And he is the main donor with the flowers. He's from Germany, and they had come to visit our center in 2004, and they came and they went to villages with our peripheral OPD, and they liked it, and they decided to donate us pediatric department for 3 years. They committed for 3 years, 2010, and still today they are sponsoring us, looking to the work because we have to give them back regular report and all statistics and everything. In addition to that, when such type of cases started coming up, we created another proposal. I'm just sharing because this is possible everywhere. So, that is how homeopathy can really come up much more in threefold. So we then, same agency, we prepared, I thought I need to work on that, and cerebral palsy proposal was prepared. And that was submitted. And they sanctioned that also. And they are at present sponsoring me this whole center. And that is how we started with this center, along with all pediatric OPD regularly going on. And this is how we have created room. This is in a rural area. When they say peripheral or rural, it is going to be like, okay. But we have tried to make it as a state-of-art center that children would love to come. They are happy to visit our center. So this is how pediatrician room is there. We have vaccination and all those things are there. This is sensory integration room, because with cerebral palsy we came across autism, ADHD, other disorder where there is definitely a need of sensory integration in city also. So art-based therapy also we have started as a part of therapeutic only. Speech therapy is also there. Recently, since 2 years, pediatric neurologist has also joined our team. So she is with us. This is physiotherapy. So it is very huge, colorful, with all the facilities that they would like to be there to exercise daily, which is the need, because this is based on all integrated approach. Mental health clinic where all IP testing and everything is there. Now this is created. We had only one room for pediatrics. Then we added a second, we added third, we added fourth. We added with outdoor aquatic pebble therapy also, and we do provide transport facility because they are coming from very poor socioeconomic strata. they don't even have food to eat, so there is no question. And this type of disorder requires long-term therapy. So we help them out, and recently we have registered a research project with CTRI exploring the role of homeopathy along with multidisciplinary approach in cases of cerebral palsy. That we have already officially registered. So this is just in brief about our center. It is all multidisciplinary integrated approach. One patient is seen by all, and after 4 months we all see that patient again. So, and looking to comorbidity of epilepsy, we started facility of EEG, VERA, everything there. So our next research proposal will be epilepsy. And one of our, my person working, who is a coordinator, she already launched that research project on epilepsy, registered with clinical registry, clinical trial registry of India. So that's all. We are trying to work for special children and
Thank you, ma'am. It was a wonderful session. So, on behalf of Sri Shyamalaji Homeopathic Medical College and all the trainees sitting over here, I am thanking you, Dr. Hema Parikh, ma'am, for accepting our invitation to be here as our resource person and giving your valuable time for us, ma'am, and especially for sharing your wisdom about teaching, learning process, its principles and skill learning. You have shared a very interesting case to make us understand more about teaching process, especially problems-based learning for students. Thanks a lot, ma'am. So now we'll greet ma'am with I request Dr. Vishal sir to greet ma'am. Please.
To honor the certificate and memento to the Dr. Hema Parikh madam.
Beautiful certificate here.
Thank you. This certificate is made by our master Sir Kim sir. He designs all the
Very nice.
So, about the CME करने के लिए श्री शामलाजी होमियोपैथिक मेडिकल कॉलेज में आए हो, तो आपने पूरी कॉलेज देखी, सब डिपार्टमेंट देखे और आपने अपना लेक्चर बहुत ही बेहतरीन लेक्चर लिया, तो आपको इस कॉलेज के बारे में क्या बोलोगे?
First and foremost, I came here after almost 7, 8, 10 years, I don't know. And today when I came here, it's totally different. The college has expanded very well. All the departments are very well equipped. I would say there is no space for any more charts. It is so much done. And it was nice. I enjoyed CME. And I was surprised to see people coming for attending CME from various parts of India, from Bhopal, from Calcutta. So many people are from outside. It was very nice. Session was very good. I enjoyed, and it was a very interactive session. I think such type of seminars should be arranged more frequently. And it was great fun. Hospitality here is excellent. Enjoyed food also.
थैंक यू मैडम। अभी आपने पूरे डिपार्टमेंट सब कुछ देखा, तो आपका कोई सजेशन है हमारी कॉलेज में कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट करने के लायक हो कुछ तो?
I don't think so. Things are very much well in placed. it's fully equipped. I could see that. So nothing specific. I was just giving suggestion for repertory department that you can make models in the department because everywhere charts are there. We can add some model for repertory. Nothing more. That is okay. If you
Okay,
can
thank
add
you.
good, otherwise also it's okay.
Thank you, ma'am.